RLCS Roster Predictions for 2027. I timestamped this for you. So we got Falcons first, Zen next, then NRG. Starting off with Falcons, we have the Twins, who decided to drop TRK after placing second in the 2025 RLCS World Championships. Second place is not bad, but that is not good enough for Falcons. Falcons wants to be number one. So, the moment that they dropped TRK and replaced him with Dralii being known as the best player in 2025, according to most of the community, I'd say at least 50% of the community was saying that Dralii was the best player or the best pro. And even Zen himself, whenever Zen was asked who is the best player, he mentioned Dralii by name. So I kind of knew that, yeah, the Falcons was going to be a major threat to teams in 2026. The thing is, anybody who's been watching RLCS knows that that was not the case. The Falcons actually had major chemistry issues. And I'm talking they were not qualifying to lands, losing to teams they weren't supposed to, like losing to Twisted, losing to R8. Yeah, honestly, even like them even being able to make the World Championships was like up in the air, just because they were losing so much and placing so badly. But, EWC came around and they finally figured it out. They finally, got their chemistry down, got their playstyle down. And for those who don't know, in the Esports World Cup, they dominated in the semifinals. I believe beating Carmen Corp. If I'm not mistaken. I think they 4-0'd Carmen Corp, and then for the finals, which we are watching right now, they 4-0'd SSG. Yeah, so quite a deadly team. One of the main things I want to focus on this video is that the pros and just like the game sense is so good nowadays that I feel like to be a top team, you really have to have a super team. And what do I mean by super team? I mean like every player is not just good, but great, individually. Great as far as great team chemistry, and as well as like game sense, you know what I mean? So all players have to kind of check all boxes to be able to make a super team. I personally believe that this year the only super team that we have is the Falcons. In my honest opinion, Casey is great, but as you can see, when they come up against a super team, they are getting absolutely smacked. And I think they got smacked too. I think they got 4-0'd by SSG too. So I'm definitely not considering KC a super team. I would consider them really good, but not a super team. So last year we did have 3 super teams in my opinion. In my opinion, the first one being NRG was probably the best super team that we had. The most scary one was probably KC with Vatira Atto and Dralii. And then the last super team was like Falcons. Anyways, on to Zen. Zen the GOAT, Zentality, Zentastic, the poster child for RLCS. Earlier this year, I made a video that said, basically to sum it up, it said, hey, Zen is not going to place good if he does not get 2 really, really good teammates. And shortly after I made that video, his announced teammates was Stizzy replacing Monkey Moon and Exotic Stain. And I kind of knew that that was a major mistake the moment I heard that news, because Zen, as great as he is and as good as he is in 3v3s and in 2v2s and 1v1s, if you didn't know, Zen got top 2. He placed second place for Europe 1v1s in the recent 1v1 tournament. But obviously he didn't qualify to Worlds as far as 1v1s go. But yeah, I basically made a prediction that was like, hey, Zen, if Zen doesn't get some super good teammates, it's going to be a repeat of what we've been seeing. What we've seen last year and the year before, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure in 2024 he didn't do too good. Yeah, in 2024 I don't think he did too hot. I think 2023 was his last first place win. But so anyways, on to Zen's roster move. The obvious one is that Zen goes to KC and joins Veteran Atto. But I would say do not be surprised if that is not the case. My counter argument is, who's to say Atto doesn't come to Zen? Obviously, Zen and Atto are probably going to win the 2v2 tournaments. Me personally, I think that there is like a 25% chance that Atto comes to Vitality and Stizzy and Exotic gets dropped, and maybe they bring in a new third. Who knows? They might keep Stizzy as their third and then run that squad as Zen, Atto, and Stizzy. I personally don't know. I'll say that kind of depends on how Zen feels about Stizzy. Sorry, tongue twisters. If Zen feels that Stizzy performed, when like he was expected to, then yeah, he'll stick on the roster. And if he doesn't, then, we'll see him get replaced for next year. And I'm honestly I wouldn't be surprised if Zen and Atto were already in cahoots and already discussing like what their intentions are for the next season. So we will just have to see. Take a little breather there. So while recording this footage for this game or for this video, I realized some of like insane reads that Zen has. Like these awkward bounces. This dude like will put himself in the perfect position to be able to catch the ball or redirect the ball. He's really good at doing such things. Like, for example, right here, being able to get that second touch is definitely next level. And if he probably did have a player ready, or maybe a better teammate, that could have been an air dribble all the way into a goal, maybe a flipper set into a goal. But unfortunately, that is just not Zen's teammates right now. Like I said, mainly Zen, I know we're going off topic here, but mainly he's just trying to be, first man, trying to put a stop. I've realized that Zen kind of stops and waits a lot. Not a lot, but I've noticed that he does do that. Like he'll just post up in a position and kind of just wait for the ball instead of pushing it. So that is something that I might try to incorporate into my own games. Anyways, comment on what you think Zen's 2027 roster is going to be. Do you think it's going to be what everybody's predicting, that he just goes to KC? Or do you think that he brings Atto over and they pick up some third, whoever that may be? Also, I could see Zen going to KC and Vatira getting dropped. I know that sounds out there, but it is a possibility. Anyways, on to the 2025 World Championship. No, 2025 World Championship winners. NRG with Daniel, Beast Mode, and Atomic. So, like I said earlier, NRG was definitely a super team for 2025. That has obviously not been the case for 2026. These guys have been flopping, to put it lightly. I think there was only like one, I forget what they call it, like one regional. I think they've only won like one regional out of like this whole year have they actually performed as expected. And even then they kind of struggled a little bit, losing like, series versus teams that they shouldn't have lost, but they ended up winning it. But I mean, for the most part, these guys have just been majorly flopping, like every single tournament, every single LAN, like even EWC, kind of like a flop in my opinion. Going from being the best team in the world last year to losing to teams that you definitely shouldn't be losing to. What is the difference? I feel like these guys might have got a little laxed after being like, oh yeah, we just, used to grind 60 hours a week or 50 hours, 50 to 70 hours per week. And we were the best team last year. So why do we have to train? I mean, we 4-1 the Falcons last year. Speaking of that, that is what this gameplay is, the World Championships from last year. But yeah, they've just got totally relaxed, and I don't know if it's like a motivation thing or what it is. I know they've been having several issues. I know Beast Mode's friend recently passed away, but even before that, they were still flopping. So my predictions for NRG would be that either Beast Mode or Atomic gets dropped. Who do I think could replace them? Obviously, First Killer. In my opinion, First Killer is one of the North American greats that unfortunately doesn't get the credibility that he deserves just because he doesn't really, as at least for as long as I've been watching RLCS, he doesn't get put on the great teams that he needs to. He needs to shine, kind of like Zin. You know what I mean? He needs, even though he's great himself, he definitely needs two great teammates alongside him. You know, and I'm not saying anything about these guys' teammates now. Like, obviously, they have teammates that are good or really good. They're just not great. And you know, I'm sorry to say that, but just as a spectator, that's my personal opinion. And that's the cool thing about America. We have the right to our opinion. But yeah, I would be super excited to see like First Killer, you know, Daniel Beast Mode or First Killer Atomic. First Killer Atomic Daniel. Yeah, my bad. So that's my kind of predictions. Another thing that's I could see happening is like Daniel, First Killer, and Zach maybe. You know, I think that would, if they got their chemistry down, that could definitely be a super team. And I know that sounds crazy for Daniel, Atomic, and Beast Mode to be splitting, but the thing is these guys are on their third year together. Not many teams stick together that long. And on top of that, I personally feel like they gave it, you know, all they possibly could. They stuck together for 3 years, you know, got close in year 1, I think, won first place at Worlds in year 2, and then flopped in year 3. So you've literally done it all. I personally think it's time to switch it up. But I will say, being an NRG fan, I personally know how much these guys enjoy playing with each other. So I wouldn't be surprised if they stick together for a 4th year. Anyways, that is going to wrap it all up. Shout out SSG for getting 2nd place. Shout out Jans for being a GOAT. And thank you guys for tuning in. Leave a comment on if you think my predictions were plausible and maybe what your predictions were. Thank you.